2024. This is my first podcast this year, and I wanted to bring it in with somebody's very special, Big Boss News, Spicy Korean. And this is Cassie. This is actually my cousin-in-law, I guess. You're married to
yeah,
my
I guess so. I'm married to your cousin.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about him later.
Yeah.
But anyway, Cassie, how are you today? It's February, almost Valentine's Day.
Yep. I'm ready for it. Yep.
Okay, so
doing good.
All right, so tell me, I mean, obviously you know about my podcast. You know that I talk about business.
Yes, I'm an avid listener.
Thank you. And so one thing I wanted to talk to you about is your company, right? So you run Level 10 Construction, and you've been doing this for how long now?
So we've been doing construction for about 3 years with Level 10 Construction, but I've been an interior designer since 2008.
Okay, so that aspect, you bring in a lot of, things into the construction company and the remodeling business more than others possibly.
Yeah,
right?
so it kind of came together because my husband, he was director of sales for a construction company for a while. And during the pandemic, the company, everybody, all the businesses just kind of slowed down at that time. But he's like a knock on doors type of dude. So he was like, I think we can do this ourselves. And so, he knew I do interior design. I freelance for a long time. And so he's like, with your design and my sales, like we have the crew, we can do it. And so that's, how we just kind of combine both of our talents.
That's awesome. So how do you do that? So you're married to, I guess, your business partner in a sense?
Yes.
And I know my cousin, okay? Ooh. So, I love him, but, I know
he's an alpha.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
So how do you make that work? Because that can be very difficult.
So we owned businesses before together. And so when we first got married 10 years ago, we had a food truck company and it was a Korean food truck.
Yes.
That was a disaster. And so the business itself was successful, right? But it came at the expense of our marriage and our family. So we were newly married, had newborn babies, and a new business. And so after putting our personal life aside and running forward with the business, like that's the success of that is all that mattered. After doing that for 5 years, went from one food truck to 3 food trucks, and we had some grocery contracts and stuff for our dumplings. But it came to a point where we had to decide, pick our business or pick our marriage. And thankfully we picked our marriage. So we closed that business. And then between then and now, we just really took time to get to know one another better. We had a very quick and fast romance and then got to know each other better, just strengthen our marriage, our relationship, and our family first, and respect each other as business partners.
Right.
And so we just thought it was a really good time to do it again. Try it one more time.
Right. I was going to say, so how did you differentiate from the first business? Because like you said, it was the marriage or the business. So you chose your marriage, but how did you differentiate that this time around? Like you said.
So I just think that we both had to understand what we valued because, and we're not going to value the same things. So John values providing for his family, being successful. Men. Yeah, that's where he values. So he's going to answer a business call 24 hours a day, right? Not me. So I value that he's taken care of, our home is taken care of, our children are taken care of, and that we're present for them. That's what I value. And so we just had to learn that about each other and be okay with that it wasn't the same thing. We don't value the same things and respect that. So he respects that if there's a job coming up or we need to go see a customer and I need to be there for whatever reason initially, but let's say I'm signed up to chaperone at our kids' field trip,
Right.
That is more valuable to me. And so he just respects that. And he's like, okay, let's either do a later time, a different day, if it's required for me to be there, So I think that overall we just had to learn our differences and what we value and then respect that.
No, that's great advice, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people try to work with their significant others. And I'm in business and I will tell you it can make or break.
Yeah,
right?
It does. There was an instance before when we had the food truck company and I was admin a lot. And so I answer phone calls, I schedule events, do permitting, all that stuff. And so one time I was at home cleaning up, whatever, and he goes, hey, did you see we had an email come in for this event, whatever? I go, yeah. And he's like, okay, can you take care of it? I go, I will. I'm vacuuming right now. He lost it wherever he was. He came straight home and was like, I'll answer the email. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna clean the house, and so it just didn't work.
Right. Yeah. Priorities. Everybody has different priorities, and I get it. So what advice can you share as far as with others, especially in the construction companies? Because let's face it, we're in Texas.
Yeah.
Big competition. There's, I don't know, thousands of construction companies. How do you, compare yourself to others, and how do you compete and make sure that you're successful?
Yeah, so I think the key, first of all, is like to not compare, because we are newer than a lot of these like old fundamental, construction companies that have been around for years.
Right.
But one thing that we've learned to do is just not pretend like we know it all and ask for help. We have relationships with mentors that have been in the business for 20 more plus years that are just a phone call away. We ask for a lot of advice. We, figured a lot of it out.
Be humble.
Yes,
right?
Be humble for sure. Right. Like, don't arrive like you've already had it figured out,
because you don't.
Yeah, and it's more embarrassing when you make mistakes that way, and so just reach out for help. Find a mentor. Do a lot of research. We've made so many mistakes the first year, and my husband would like to say, like, after we did taxes, we found that we had about a $1.4 million loss that year, just mistakes, like warranty jobs they had to go back and do, just loss of materials, so many things. And he says that, he considers that a win-win, because we paid $1.4 million education and experience, and we will never, make those mistakes again. And so it's an investment.
Right,
it was a loss, but it was investment. We'll never make those mistakes again. So, yeah.
It can be difficult, like I said. That's a big loss. But in construction, it can be very volatile, especially just like I said, anywhere you go, it's very volatile. So again, what can you tell the newbies, let's say, because we already know the old people that have been around for years, they know what they're doing, they have the connections, but just like you said, you had mentors to help you. Like, what can you advise of the newer companies? I
think construction specifically, find your niche. I feel like there's a lot of companies who just are like, we'll do anything. We'll do kitchen, we'll do bath, we'll do flooring, we'll do paint, and although we do offer all of those services, what we focus our marketing efforts on, and what we focus like our referrals on, are kitchen and bath, whole home, or commercial build outs. So we're just very direct and to the point, right? So find what you're best at and target that. And it can be at one or few things, but don't target everything, because there's just like an old saying that if you're doing 100 things, then you're really good at nothing,
That's true.
Or something like that. And so we try to just keep the things that we're strong at, and that's our target.
Okay. So other than mentors, right? You mentioned you have mentors out there that kind of helped you along the way. In business, what have you learned early on that you really, other than the mentors, who have you reached out to that can help you professionally, you think?
So we have a really particular group of friends. We keep our circle very small. And those are typically individuals that we share common faith, first of all. And so we can ask advice about that as it pertains to being a business owner and what that looks like, still like having a God-honoring business. So we have people who are further along in marriage than us, and that we reach out to oftentimes when we're just coming across, because we can't work together if we can't live together. And so we have people who are veterans in parenting, because it all affects our business because we work together, and then we have professionals, friends who are in corporate world. They're not necessarily entrepreneurs, but they're in the corporate world, and we're trying to build a corporation, ultimately. And so getting that feedback from these CEOs of multi-million-dollar pharmaceutical companies, for instance, that we have in our circle, they can give us advice, business operating advice, know, and so that's been huge, because we can think forward in what we're doing today, like to get to that goal. Yeah.
In business, you can't just remain the same. You have to, unless you're going towards retirement, but we're not there.
We're not there.
Right. You're
John,
in the growth.
Baby.
No. He ain't that old. Come on now. There's a growth phase. You want to be at you're only 3 years into the company. You're at the growth phase. That's definitely where you're at. So, no, that's awesome. I think in business, as I always tell all my listeners, like, business is not always what you know, it's sometimes who you know, right? And when you're reaching out to people that have longer standing marriages, longer standing businesses, and people in the corporate world that can kind of give you that insight on business, I think that's the number one piece that really can help you, stand the difference between one business and another, even if they're like the same. They're doing the same work, that can distinguish you the difference, just having the right people in your circle, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
And you mentioned your faith and you mentioned all this. So tell me, I know you were also talking about a new project you were thinking about starting, or you are going to be starting. Yeah. And, of course, so tell us a little bit.
Because my life is crazy. Why
just make it crazier.
Podcast? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, me and my husband, we have a pretty straight routine in the morning. I take the kids to school. I'll run to Starbucks, get us some coffee, come home, and he's up by then having his quiet time. And so by the time I come home, we just start kind of unloading the day, just talking about, whatever he's studying or I'm studying at the time or what's going on in life. And it's just so cool because, again, when we met, we got married within 6 months. And so,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so we
I didn't know it was that soon. Yeah, wow.
So we've spent our whole marriage like getting to know each other, like really dating the whole time, right? So there's so much about him I don't know. There's so much about me he doesn't know, my past, things I've experienced. And so we really just get to like unfold those things. We debate pretty often. We kind of comb out situations that are happening at work.
Right.
And so we have a friend who's a barber and he has a podcast. And when we would be up there and just talking about
you have to get
things,
him to be on my show.
Yes, AP.
Yeah.
He's like, y'all really need to get a podcast. Like people just need to hear this. You need to share it. And and so I've always kind of just preferred to keep our life private and things to talk about private. But, I actually had a little bit of conviction and kind of encouragement. I was listening to a different podcast and there was a married couple on there and they were talking about how more married people need to be sharing what's going on like in their lives because it's very, very hard. Like marriage is very, very hard. And so
relationships overall.
Yeah, relationships are very, very hard.
Right
and
now,
so
especially.
if you, and they're always under attack, it's so easy to just, break up. So, but besides that, he was just saying that, that the more that there are positive people out there talking about the real of like the hard, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah, it's not all pretty roses,
in their relationship,
right?
in their business, in their home, with their kids, then it just someone can identify with that, and they can take that wisdom and it just helps them like to grow and keep their marriage together. So it's so funny because we're calling it keeping together.
Keeping it together.
Because there's a lot of time we wanted to like peace out.
No, that's all. Lot of relationships, and it's easy, like we talked about. Now we're living in a digital world. Back in my day, I'm not going to talk about how old I am, but back in my day, we didn't have that. It was like, okay, we met people the old-fashioned way through our friends or just when we're out in public. Now it's literally like, oh, you're acting up? Let me get on my phone and let me just, it's just so easy. Facebook, Instagram, all these, social medias that are out there that can distract us from our goals and our relationship and things like that. So, I'm glad. I think that'll be a great podcast. I think, especially in the, the marriage, how you start off 6 months knowing each other and then just growing, 10 years?
10 years, yeah.
Yeah. People do make it, right? Yeah. Even not knowing each other very well.
The longest... but most rewarding 10 years of my life.
Why are you laughing?
Yes. Because it's been hard.
It's been a roller coaster.
And I don't ever want to like present ourselves like we know it all or that we've, but we're still in it. And I think that's more of like the message is like we are still in it and we're choosing each other every day.
Yeah.
And, and so I'm constantly just rooting for people. It's hard. I know it's hard. Sorry, I thought I turned this off.
No, you're fine. It's I understand.
Yeah, it's really hard. But like get in there, get back in there. So.
No, that's awesome. So when are you planning on starting this podcast?
We're starting it really soon. So we had to end our year, get all our taxes done, wrap up all business stuff. But we think like it's perfect timing to start like beginning of the year. It's Lunar New Year, Year of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Me and John are both dragons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're both dragons actually. So not that we hang our hat on that.
Right.
It's just cool. And so we're like, this is the year to start,
And it's a diverse family, right? It's because we're talking about multiracial because you're
I'm black and white.
And
I like to say that I'm Spaniard and I'm Scottish technically.
Oh, okay.
And then my dad is black. And,
You're just mixed
yes.
race. You're a mixed
and
race.
Then, and John's Korean. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Full
So
Korean,
you have beautiful kids together. Oh my gosh, they're so
yes,
cute.
Yeah.
They're so
we have
cute.
4 kids, so 18, 12, almost 9, and 7. And our youngest is autistic, and so we're special needs parents, and
You've just got so much going on that you'll always have a smile on your face and always looking so positive. So I mean that's a great role model to have, right?
Thanks.
So business owner, boss woman, now gonna start a podcast. I mean, maybe I could be a guest at her podcast eventually. I don't know. I don't know too much about relationships, but
Yeah, you know too much about relationships.
I don't know about that. But anyway.
Pro, yes.
I don't know about that. But that's why I'm still single. But anyway. So thank you so much, Cassie.
Sure.
But what else? Is there any last comments you can tell our listeners about, that are business owners or wanting to go into business? Any last advice you can give them?
Yeah, I think I just want to speak directly to women in business who also have a lot of other hats that they wear. So my biggest advice is that don't give up the idea that you can't have it all, because you can have it all.
Yes.
You cannot have it all at the same time. And so I think that's why goal setting is so important, because at the end of your lifetime, you want to live a legacy. And so map that out. This is everything that I want. And at what point and stages in my life will I get those things? So
let me add to that. Thank you for bringing up the woman thing, because let me add to this. Ladies, ladies, hear us clearly.
Yes.
You do not need a man or significant other to be a boss lady. Am I wrong?
Not wrong at all.
So even though you have a husband, whatever significant other, it's still, it can be done. So women, you do not have to rely on a man to take care of you, because guess what? The women that I know that have had men to take care of them, they have always been abusive, controlling. They're giving you money for a reason. Don't live that life, you guys. You can have the life of what you want as long as you go for it.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Okay, just wanted to, and with that, so ladies, just know that, be the boss lady you are, because I'm just going to put it out there. We are smarter than men. I'm just going to, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't come at me, but we are. And you know why. We're we can wear multi hats and still look like we're doing okay. Even if we're dying inside, we're still floating. But there are so many people that tell me all the time, like, man, you look so happy. I'm like, I could be having the worst day of my life, but nobody on the outside will really know me unless they really know me, right? Yes. Yeah. So no, I think that's a great point. So thank you so much, Cassie.
Yes, you're so welcome.
Love you.
Thanks for having me. I love you.
All right, so go check out her podcast. What's it going to be called?
Keeping It Together.
Keeping It Together. Yep. So I will have the link once we get it started for you guys, and go from there. But thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Look, somebody scraped a heart in my table. I ought to
I didn't even see that,
get
girl.
somebody.
Somebody got you good. Okay.
This is brand new.
Yon, every time we put you somewhere, you find a new friend. Like, we can't go put you anywhere.
I know, I was the same way. I didn't think you'd like the golf kids. I'm like,
no, you talk to everybody. I'm like, no, you put me by anybody, I'll talk to them.
Yes.